About to join us, a good friend of the show, and a good friend to Oklahoma State sports, and a very valuable contributor in Zack Ramsey. But I first have to fall on my sword and say I am completely embarrassed. I was talking about, and by the way, the article was in the Athletic. In fact, let's play the copy alert real quick. Real quick, we got to play it. I spent a whole segment on the athletic story, so the copy alert at some point needs to be played. Um, but anyway, there it is. Yeah. When we blatantly copy, we want to say we blatantly copied. We don't want to make it sound like it's our stuff. I said there were 11 in the athletic story this morning on the 99 jerseys in college football, with each one being assigned a great player. Barry Sanders got 21. There were 10 Cowboys that were honorable mentions on each of the jersey numbers. And I got 9 of them. This was after I read the story. The one I forgot, somebody should bang me over the head with a silver hammer. Um, Chuba Hubbard is on the number 30 list. He's still a player. That's why I kind of blocked that out. Chuba's still active. But even with what he's done so far, I mean, he led the nation in rushing for a season. So that puts him in there. Chuba Hubbard is on the 30 list, which is cool. That's the one I missed. I bet Zack Ramsey, if we gave him time, could name the other 9 that are on the list. He would know those. Zach, how are you?
I'm doing well, Robert. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How's your family and everything through all this?
They're doing all right. Stay in close contact with mom and dad. They live down
Right.
there in Shawnee, and they're doing pretty well. So everybody's healthy. So we're happy for that.
That's good. And again, we had the coaches on. Mike Gundy was nice enough to let us have the football staff, coaching staff on last week. Now we're having members of the support staff. And your name came up last week because a lot of times when we were talking to the coaches, they were either in the process of watching video, they had just watched video, or they were talking about how they had a time in their day carved out. And I checked my Exos because we're fortunate enough to be on that with opponent video. And there it was. So, you were able to give these guys a great chance to make their best use of time. And they're already studying and game planning the first opponents for next season. So you had to get to work in a hurry, make sure all that stuff was up.
We did. We were able to put everything up on Thundercloud before everybody got sent home. We're able to push that out so that players and staff alike are able to, regardless of where they are, can log in and access the video that we have pushed up there for them right now, which, as you said, at the moment is basically our first 4 opponents, all the video for Oregon State, Tulsa, Western Illinois, and TCU, all the opponent film from those 4 teams' games from last season is available for guys to log on and study as much as they like. Coach Gundy put something out to the staff that said, "Hey, this is what you need to be doing. We need to, be thinking ahead." And so this video is available. And so, like I said, it's good that we have that. And I know that the coaches and players have all been on and been working on it. So yeah, we were able to be prepared, and it's worked out really well.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but normally the game planning and going back and looking at a lot of tape on the early opponents, isn't that, I guess, more May, June type
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, that's pretty much, that's normally a summertime deal that we get into, after, obviously after spring ball's over, and but with things like they are now, we just went ahead and jumped into it, try to make use of the time that we have. So yeah, we're what's normally being done in June and July is happening in March and April. So everybody pushing forward, and you know, getting ready to go for next fall.
Just out of curiosity, I know uh, the football program has the obviously Todd Bradford and Mike Gross have the recruiting part of it, and they've got the recruiting analyst, and so they're doing a lot of the recruiting tape. How much do you help with recruit tape and video of recruits? Are you doing a lot of that as far as putting that out there for guys to the cross section of the coaching staff to look at?
You know what? With all our additional analysts that we've added on and everything, those guys, they're pretty adept at going
Yeah.
on and finding the video that they need, whether it be Huddle or wherever. So we don't. What we are involved in with recruiting is, when we have visits on campus and stuff, we're pretty heavily involved in playing videos for them, whether it be
Right.
highlight videos or things of that nature.
You know what? To where how much of your staff do you have right now during this with uh, the limitations and so forth? I'd imagine the students that you use you don't have. It's just your full time, right?
That's correct. Yeah, in a normal practice setting, I have my full-time assistant, Michael Ivan, and then we have
Right.
six students that are here with us during practice. But as you said, those students have gone home, so it's just me and Michael, and we're here to help, and we stay in constant contact with the coaches, and they know how to get a hold of us, and whatever they need, we're here to help them with it.
Their offices, by the way, folks, are nice size. It's the Jeff Naple Memorial office area for football video, and your offices, you and Michael's offices, are far apart. You guys can keep your social distancing.
That's right. Yep. Michael and I are making sure that we stay at least 6 feet apart from each other at all times. So,
Anyway, and for people who don't, we've had you on before, but I don't know if we've ever really kind of went through what it's like your job, and obviously I mentioned Pitt, Jeff Naple, and what a great influence that he's had on that position at Oklahoma State, on you, hiring you as his assistant, and may he rest in peace. But he was one of the very best in that business at what you guys do.
oh, Pitt's a legend. There's no other way to put it. He's absolutely legendary in the world of video, and I was fortunate to get to work under him for 8 years, and yeah, I learned a lot from him, and tried to take what I learned from him and put it to work. And we do the best that we can to honor him in what we do in this department still today.
Well, and for people who don't realize it, every practice, a lot of the other activities, obviously every game, not just with what your guys are filming, which is the coaches' copies, whether it's the end zone, whether it's the pan or the tight, because there's all kinds of, at least pretty much standard three copies of every play, and drills in practice that you guys do. But also, you guys keep a library of all the TV broadcast copies of games. Kind of run through a little bit of just kind of cursory of what your office and your department does, because I don't think people grasp it.
Well, like you said, we are at every practice. I have a staff of 6 students. We have 5 cameras going at all time. 2 on the sideline up high, 2 in the end zone up high, and then one guy roaming around on the ground with a camera to shoot individual drills and get things from different angles. So that's every day, from when we start camp August 1 to all the way through the bowl game. Same deal with spring practice. We're at every one of those. So practice is a big part of it for us. Like you said, we are at every game, same way, with a sideline and at least one end zone, if not two. We also shoot a wide angle that's everybody on the field that is specifically for the Big 12 conference that we send to them to grade officials. So that happens. And then, like you said, film acquisition is a huge part of what we do with all our opponent videos. So on a given Saturday night, whether home or away, our first priority is to get our game in and get it up onto our exchange service so that it can go out to all the other Big 12 schools. But as soon as that's done, we immediately start working with opponent film. So whoever we've got next is our top priority. And so every school in the Big 12 shoots their game and then has a certain amount of time to get that game put up to the exchange service. And then we're able to go in and pull it down. So like I said, our next opponent, whoever that is, that's our first priority. But we end up getting them all. And we get them downloaded and get them into our system, edited down the way the coaches want them, and you try to get it turned around as quickly as you can, so that these guys can get to work on it almost immediately.
I can tell you, folks, that they work really quickly. I mean, you guys get that done in a hurry. But I can also tell you as well from over the years, from knowing Jeff for a long time and knowing Zach, the coaches can be demanding. A lot of times, you've got stuff going on a road game. You've got stuff going on the flight back. Coaches
Oh,
are
sure.
already looking at tape and doing
Yeah.
some grading on the way home.
Yeah, we try our best, like I said, to get it turned out, and all the coaches have iPads they travel with, and so we have the ability to we as soon as the game's over on the road, we finish the editing process right there in the press box, and my assistant Michael is key in getting the video pushed out to the iPads for all the coaches. We immediately bring those downstairs, and as the coaches are coming out of the locker room after the game to get on the bus to go to the airport, we're handing out iPads as they get on the bus. So they're already grading film on the bus to the airport and then on the plane coming home. So ideally, by the time we get home, a good chunk of that grading's already done.
Yeah, when you look at it too, I mean, I don't want to get into a tell all on which coaches are most demanding or most into it, but I do think by position it's pretty easy to kind of gauge how quickly and what coaches. And the first one I think of, it doesn't matter who it is currently right now for Oklahoma State. It's one of the nicest guys I think you could ever have. Charlie's outstanding and a great guy, but offensive line, those guys have got a lot of grading to do, right?
Yes, they do, and you're right. Coach Dickey he is a class individual, and I love working with the guy, and we're lucky to have him. I was actually working with him this morning to get his first position meeting set up that's going to take place tomorrow morning, his first virtual position meeting. So we were working with that. But yes, we always make sure that, like I said, he has what he needs after the game, because he does have a lot of tape to go through, and so he's one of the first ones to get his iPad after the game, and it'll be good.
Well, and you just brought up a good point. So I guess you and Michael will be pretty involved in if not the setup, certainly you're involved with the cut ups and the things the coaches are going to want to use in these new virtual meetings the Big 12 voted in over the weekend.
Correct. Yeah. We were had a pretty good idea that we were going to get some clearance to do these kind of meetings. So Michael and I started last week kind of investigating how we were going to go about it, and so we were out in front of it a little bit. When the green light came last night, coaches immediately started reaching out and saying, "Hey, I want to do my meeting here, and I want to do my meeting." We've got three or four of them set up to. Heck, Joe Bob already took care of his today. He already cranked his out and did his with his players this morning. So it's running pretty smoothly.
Now, you guys get the video that they want to show or they want to review. I know Oklahoma State Athletics has a good IT outfit, but are you guys responsible for helping set up the Zoom? I don't know whether you guys are using Zoom or what. Are you in that end of it too?
Yeah, yeah, that's what we've been doing this morning is helping the
Okay,
guys get Zoom installed on their computers and
there you go.
getting them logged in and showing them how it works. And Zoom is a really neat deal.
It
I wasn't
is.
familiar with it until last week, like I said. And you can get on and coaches can actually share their screen. So whatever the coach is seeing on his screen can then be turned around and shared out to the people in his meeting. So like Joe Bob, for instance, this morning got on with his guys and was able to show edits right out of Exos, which is our edit software. He was able to share that out to his guys, and the guys were, they're all at home, like I said, so they're all over the place, but they're sitting at home and they're able to see what Joe Bob has on his screen here in the office. So it worked out really well.
Yeah, exact same thing. I was involved in two Zoom meetings last week. First time I've ever done it, and it's kind of amazing because whoever's leading the meeting can really uh, show what's on their screen and whether it's PowerPoint or whatever, video in this case with you guys. Hey, last thing, Zack Ramsey, folks, with us. He's the director of football video at Oklahoma State, which is a huge important job you probably don't hear enough about. And I know Zach well enough to he's like, yeah, I don't necessarily need to be out there. I just like
Nope.
doing my job and playing my role. But I do know this: you are you work in the sport, you work in the department, but you're as big a fan too as there is out there. I know you and your dad love going to Cowboy baseball together, and I know you guys had your season tickets and were ready to go with the opening of O'Brate Stadium, and I know your passion for it. And yeah, I was just going to ask you that I know you hated to miss like we all did that March 20th opening, but B, how much you're going to be excited when we can get back to all of the Oklahoma State sports because you kind of run the gamut. You're across the board with it.
Oh yeah, no, you're right about that, Robert. My parents took me to my first game in the fall of 1987. I was 9 years old at the time, and Barry Sanders ran the opening kickoff back that night against Tulsa, and I was hooked from that point forward. You cut me, I bleed orange, and to not have, like you said, if we're not doing spring football, you generally find me over at Alley P this time of year or O'Brate as it's going to be going forward. But yeah, I can't wait to get back to it. I've never lived in a world without sports, and it's been a bit of a struggle. But no, I can't wait to get back. Hopefully things get back to normal here pretty soon because I need my Cowboy sports. I need them for sure.
Yeah, I think we all do, and I think that's well said. And let me say this: I think I can speak for Dave Hunziker and John Holcomb and Dion Amati, a former player, and Clint Shell, former player. We're all fortunate enough that Coach Gundy gives us access to watch opponents and study and do a better job at our job. But we couldn't do it without the support and what you do as far as getting that up there for us. And for me, constantly changing my passwords because I'm terrible about not writing them down and forgetting them. Although I've kept this one you did, and I've been able to remember it for a long, long time. But I think I speak for all of us that you've helped us be better broadcasters and better broadcasters of OSU football over the years, and we appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, Robert. I love doing what I do and getting to play a part in the success of OSU athletics. It's like you said, been a lifelong passion of mine, and so to be able to play a small part in the success, it means the world to me. I love what I do, and I hope to do it for a long, long time. So thanks for having me on, and go Pokes.
Well, hey, thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. And again, best to you and your family. And like you said, hopefully before long, we'll all be back together, sitting in seats next to each other and cheering on, Cowboy, whatever. And I guess the way things have been canceled up till now, it's football and soccer that are next. So, I'm looking forward to those. Hopefully, hey, best to you and yours. And Zach, thanks for the time.
Thanks, Robert.
All right.